Hello music fans, you're watching Death by Unicorn where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music. And this is New Music Picks 2026. I'm going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new music releases that came out over the past week and give my quick first impressions of them. And I'll talk about them in my order of preference. And as you can see, today I'm wearing my Rush shirt. Going to see Rush live in Toronto later today, and really excited about that. Maybe I'll make a video on my channel recapping the concert. But let's start off today's video with talking about the deluxe edition of Woodcut by Big Big Train. They're a progressive rock band from the UK, and they released their album Woodcut earlier this year, which I really love. One of my favorite albums of the year. And this is the deluxe edition. And they're just a band that I love. This deluxe edition has the main album, followed by the demos of the main album, followed by 2 live acoustic versions of tracks from the main album. I was most excited about hearing the demos to see what the final songs evolved from. Lead vocalist Alberto Bravin says the demos featured on the digital deluxe version of Woodcut are the final ones that I put together shortly before we went into Sweetwater Studios in Fort Wayne in the USA in April 2025. While we had the overall shape and flow of the album largely worked out before we started recording, there were some significant musical developments at Sweetwater. File sharing has a role to play, but creatively, nothing can rival the 7 of us all playing in the same room together, interacting and sparking off each other with arrangement and performance ideas. So the musical aspect, I found the demos were the most interesting thing to listen to here. The musical ideas, chord progressions, melodies, a lot of them, the vast majority of them were already worked out. It seemed to me like a lot of the lyrics changed between the demos and the main album, and some of the lyrics on the demos almost don't make sense. They're singing words, but they don't really tell the story, and they're kind of just words that sound good with the melodies. Sometimes almost like random words stuck together. But that's kind of cool to hear their process, and I think the compositions of these pieces are amazing, and they speak for themselves. And the quality of these demos is mind-blowingly good. Really interesting to hear the demos and how the songs evolved between those and the main album. I'm giving this one a very good tier. I would give it excellent tier rating, but I'm not rating the main album anymore. I'm just counting the demos. If I just look at the demos, a very good tier rating for this one. But the whole album I put in my excellent tier. So check out Deluxe Edition of Woodcut by Big Big Train if you're a fan of them and you want to hear the demos. Next, I want to mention Papangu and their album Celestial, the 3rd album by this Brazilian band. It's kind of avant-garde, progressive metal, kind of progressive rock. Like the music itself isn't super metal. What the instruments are doing, it's very classic progressive rock. There's a lot of Brazilian music influence in there, bossa nova, but there's a bit of that metal, stoner rock, sludge metal, black metal, jazz, Zool, post rock, all in there. Very interesting, unique sounding band. Papangu is very cool. I want to like them even more than I actually do because I think they're very unique, very cool. Something hasn't made it connect with me massively yet. I do really like it. I'm putting it in my very good tier. They just have a very interesting and unique blend of styles. And I thought their last album from 2024 was very good as well. And if you're a fan of avant-garde metal stuff like Sleepy Time, Gorilla Museum, Diablo Swing Orchestra, you'll definitely like their last album. This one as well you should like, but it is less metal sounding and has that Brazilian influence, but still has intensity and extreme metal vocals from time to time. Also some clean vocals. If you like when your extreme metal, black metal music combines with other styles, you might like this as well. So if you like bands like Zeal and Ardor who combine black metal with soul and other genres, This new album basically sounds like classic 70s prog rock, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, with extreme metal vocals and the odd Brazilian music moment thrown in. So if that sounds good to you, check out Celestial by Papangu. Next, I want to mention the Bardic Depths and their album Some Things Are Worth Remembering, the fourth album by this progressive rock band from the UK, putting this in my very good tier as well. This is sadly the final album by this UK prog rock outfit. If you listen to this, expect some warm, melodic crossover prog, literary storytelling, jazzy sax textures, and rich, stacked harmonies. If you're a fan of bands like Big Big Train, Camel, Tiger Moth Tails, and Pink Floyd, definitely check this one out. Some Things Are Worth Remembering by the Bardic Depths. Next, I'll mention the last one that's in my very good tier for today, which is Cancer Bats and their album Give Me Dirt, the eighth album by this Canadian band. It's hardcore punk with sludge metal and metalcore influences. Very solid, energetic hardcore punk, great groovy riffs. If you're a fan of the band Every Time I Die, I think you'll like this. The track Speed Wizard in particular is a great track. It reminded me a bit of Every Time I Die, which is a band that I love. And I've always kind of enjoyed the Cancer Bats music, but they've never quite risen up to be one of my favorite bands. I have seen them live and they put on a great show, and I've learned a few of their songs on guitar, and they're really just fun hardcore punk songs to play. So they're a really fun band, and if you like hardcore punk, they're one of the best going in that scene today. So check it out. Give Me Dirt by Cancer Bats. Now moving on to my good tier, I've got the Bitches Brew Band and the Miles Davis Bitches Brew album. No, I don't think this features anybody that actually played on the real Bitches Brew album by Miles Davis, but I found this on Andy Edwards' Bandcamp. Came out on August 3rd. The other albums I talked about so far all dropped on August 7th. So I think this is the first album by this group of people. It's experimental instrumental jazz fusion. Seems like Andy Edwards just brings a lot of people into his studio and is making a lot of music this year. Mostly just improvisations and covers, not a lot of like composed music. So I feel like they probably just bring these guys in and knock this whole out, record the whole album, like learn it together, record it all in one day, would be my guess. But Andy Edwards assembled a band of great players here to play Bitches Brew by Miles Davis, as well as two of their own compositions, I believe. So it's a 3-track album. Each track is over 16 minutes long. The lineup is Ryan Corbett on trumpet, B.D. Lenz on guitar, Sonny Mohindra on tabla, Steve Wilson on electric bass, Andy Edwards on drums, Pat Sprakes on double bass, Wendy Kirkland on electric piano, Brian Neal on guitar, Martin Speak on alto sax, and recorded by Rob Grewcut and mixed by Andy Edwards. So yeah, very well played experimental instrumental jazz fusion with great players playing some great music. It does, the caveat here, the only reason it's in good tier rather than very good is like you can kind of tell these guys just kind of got together one day and made this. They're all very talented, but it's not like something that they thought out and composed immaculately. But if you like that kind of experimental, improvisational, really quick, collaborative, raw instrumental jazz fusion, I think you might like this. So check out the Bitches Brew Band with the Miles Davis Bitches Brew album. And then I want to mention Electric Callboy and their album Tanzneid, the 7th album by this German metalcore band. They're kind of comedic, melodic metalcore with electronic pop and post-hardcore influences. I'm putting this in my good tier as well. They're basically like a gimmicky party starter band, and this is their follow-up to 2023's Techno. It doubles down on their electropop meets breakdowns formula with some even bigger collaborations, including Baby Metal on Ratatata, ta ta ta. The Offspring on Let the Good Times Roll, and Sum 41's Frank Zumo. They do a cover of Still Waiting by Sum 41. And if you like the tongue-in-cheek fun of their past songs, Hypa Hypa and We Got the Moves, this is more of that turned up to 11. This music is not remotely serious music, but it is undeniably catchy. So if you want to hear just some goofy, silly, poppy, funny melodic metalcore, check out Tanzneid by Electric Callboy. Next, I'll mention Xandria and their album Eclipse, the 9th album by this German symphonic metal band. They've got some power metal, some gothic metal influences. Very powerful female operatic clean vocals here, the occasional use of harsh vocals on the album. I'm putting this one in my good tier. It's well composed, well performed music. Symphonic metal is not usually my style. The vocals are impressive, but it's not one that stands out much to me or that I see myself going back to much. But if you like symphonic metal with powerful female vocals, definitely check out Eclipse by Xandria. Then last one that I want to mention today is another one I found on Andy Edwards' Bandcamp. It came out August 5th. It's the Blutubers and their self-titled The Blutubers EP. This is a blues rock group from the UK. And again, it's one of those ones where I think he kind of just assembled a few great players into a studio and knocked this all out in one day. I'm putting this one actually in my average tier because while the players are really great, like it's kind of a covers album mostly with like maybe one original song that seems like they just wrote it in like a couple minutes and jammed some blues. Great playing though, really interesting to hear still. So if you like improvised blues rock and you want to hear some Cream covers, then check this out. The first track on here is the Three Feels. That's instrumental. It goes through three different bluesy feels, with the second being a bit funky. And then the second track, Politician, has vocals and is a Cream cover. The main riff is that fuzzy, heavy blues rock riff. It almost sounds like an early Black Sabbath riff. The third track, White Room, is also a Cream cover with vocals, and it's one of my favorite Cream songs, so cool to hear that cover. But again, it sounds like they kind of just learned it together. You could hear the vocalist shouting intro every time they have to go to the intro riff. So definitely just kind of winging it, putting a mic in a room. Like it all, it's well recorded, but it's raw. It's raw and real. So some people might like that. The fourth track, Rollin' and Tumblin', is a cover of an old blues song from 1929, first recorded by Hambone Willie Newburn in 1929. And I think the 1950 Muddy Waters adaptation of that's the most famous electric version of Rollin' and Tumblin'. And now that's, again, well played instrumentally. It does sound like these guys just got together one day. They learned the songs together and hit record, rather than being like a well-rehearsed band who put thought into some cool original arrangements. The vocals are nothing too interesting here. It's basically just a decent cover band you'd see at a bar, but they happen to have some amazing instrumentalists in the band, but they kind of sound like they haven't practiced together much. So you'll get like amazing playing, but this raw live feel. So if you want to hear some of that blues rock, check out the Blutubers EP by the Blutubers. And that's it for my first impressions on these 8 new releases that came out in the last week in August 2026. What do you think of these albums? Let me know down in the comments. And did anything else come out recently that you think I might enjoy? Also let me know. And if you like metal, rock, and prog music, you're in the right place. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you can stay in the loop on when I post new videos. My next video in this series will come out in about a week's time, and I'll talk about a new album that's called Sending Hearts to All My Dearies, a tribute to the Smashing Pumpkins, which features various artists doing covers of Smashing Pumpkins songs. And the reason I have it on my list is Between the Buried and Me. It does a track on here, Jelly Belly. And then the other album that I plan to listen to that's coming out August 14th is the Absolution Sequences album called Dread Cycle. So just those two on my radar for now for August 14th. I'm sure something else will come up that I'll learn about between now and then. Also, let me know if you know of anything. And stay tuned for that. Peace out.